One moment that's moved me is, well, a little backstory. I had this girlfriend once, and her and I were like pretty deeply in love. And one day I had a dream that she was wearing like a Japanese kimono. Now she's not Japanese, but I just thought it was an interesting dream. It just kind of made me think of like feudal Japan and that kind of thing. One thing about her though is that her favorite flower is the peony. And that's just always stuck in my brain, you know, just that she loves that flower, and she'd always tell me about it. And I always kind of had this fantasy in my head that her and I maybe knew each other from a past life, and that maybe I was, you know, in Japan at some point and we had met there. And it was just always just kind of like a fantasy or whatever. But one day, one of my favorite YouTubers actually, shout out Casey Neistat, he got a tattoo of a black peony flower on his arm. And he explained that in the ancient days, the samurais would put that flower on their armor. And for me, that was like, you know, that was like, whoa, you know, me and that girl we're not together anymore, but you know, when I look at that flower, I'll think of that and that connection. And so that moment moved me.
The first moment that I could think of when you asked me this question was actually the moment that my dad died, and I was right there. And it wasn't actually the moment that he died, but it was the moment that they took his body away and they covered it with this white sheet and rolled it out on a gurney. And knowing that that was like the last moment that I would ever see him, and it was under this white sheet, and there was something about just that visual of like that in particular, like that moment changed my life, but it also will be something that I'll never be able to unsee again. Like that moment is burned in my memory, so that would be the moment.
My older brother, Andrew, was diagnosed with schizophrenia about 10 years ago, and was kind of just raving mad and homeless for a long time, and relocated to Asheville about 5 years ago, and have been getting treatment for a while and just like meditating a lot. And last month I went to Asheville with my parents, and my parents and I never really have gotten along, and they're kind of they can be hard to get along with. And he just like, he had really just grown in such a way that he was able to hold space for us talking and just listen and be a healer. And there was a moment when he was just watching us and like feeling everything and making sure that all of us were being listened to and all that, where I just like, I felt amazed. I felt like this person who I never thought would be able to really be there was more there than almost anybody I'd ever met. And yeah, it was really inspiring.
When I was in Cincinnati, I went for a mission trip, and we went out one night to get ice cream, and there was a guy asking for like money to go visit his kid in like another state. And we all donated money to give to him, and he was so like emotional that we would even give him any money in the first place. And he went on to tell us this big story about how his kid was graduating, but he'd been homeless and he'd never gotten to witness his son play games or any type of school event. And so I was super emotional and just started crying, like handed this guy like all the money that I had. And it just hit me in that one moment that so often we overlook people just on the street, just in general, because we think they're homeless, but they have families and lives and kids and friends and things that they don't get to do or experience. So that was a big changing point in my life, just to see people who live on the street as people and not just like trash or whatever it is that we refer to them as. So that's my moment.
Well, a moment that's probably moved me is growing up in general. My dad was kind of, old school, you know, with the sticks, you know, kind of abusive and shit. But seeing him watch me kind of grow up and stuff, and seeing all my younger siblings, him slowly starting to realize, hey, this is kind of fucked up. Like, he's never laid a hand on my little siblings before. So it's like, it moved me in a way. It's very inspirational because sometimes it's hard to change, especially when shit like that occurs. And it's just one big nasty fucking shit loop, you know? So I mean, that's just a moment that's moved me in my life, is my dad slowly realizing that, hey, I need to cut this out. These are my kids. I love them and I need to treat them right. So, yeah.
Yeah, so a moment that has moved me recently was last week I went to visit my grandmother in her senior living apartments to have dinner with her, and I hadn't been to visit her in her space for a long time. And when I came in, she was all dressed up and had done her makeup and was just really delighted to see me and to be able to host me, which is something she hasn't been able to do for a long time. She's getting older, having trouble with her memory, and then with COVID and everything. I was just really surprised and touched by how much joy it brought her to spend special time one-on-one with me, and not just to be with me, but to be able to host and to serve me was something that was actually a gift to her. And so it was just a couple hours, but yeah, just spending that special time with my grandmother and seeing how much joy it brought her really moved me.
The last thing that moved me was finding out someone loved me when I thought they didn't, or I'd never see them again. And whether or not I ever see them again, just knowing that love is always there and always connected by spirit. And yeah, I don't have anything specific. But what else I can say is sometimes your dreams don't come true no matter how hard you try. And that's not always your fault. And sometimes it can take a while to find the enthusiasm again. But you can reinvent new dreams no matter how many times you failed or how many times you've had to start over. Eventually you create a new way of life again.
Well, I teach people about statistics at a community college. My name's Ralph. And during the past few years, I've had a lot of personal struggles. Being a new parent while my co-parent in my relationship fell apart. And a lot of struggles in life. But something that moved me is that I work with a lot of younger people, younger than me, mostly young adults. And a lot of them are dealing with a lot of challenges in their lives. Every kind of challenge they could have. And the longer I've had my job, the more I've learned to support people around those challenges. And there was a particular day when I maybe it was a month or a year, I don't know. There was a time when I was really down about my personal situation and how things were going for me. And I couldn't really see a bright future for my heart. And then I don't know if it was like a week or a month or just a day at work, but the young people I work with are dealing with so many challenges similar to my own and very different, like every kind of challenge people can deal with. And one day when I was convinced my heart was broken and I was convinced it was never going to heal, but as I was walking from my office out to the car, and I can't remember who I was talking to that day or that week, student-wise, but they were working so hard to just overcome the challenges in their lives and to heal their hearts and to be who they want to be. And when I was walking to my car, I thought, you know, no matter where I'm at, no matter what I've been through, what I'm going through, if those young people can heal their hearts and work for something better in their lives, you know, I can do it too.
Well, when you asked me that question to start with, I couldn't really think of one moment, but I can think of many moments because I'm a speech pathologist, so I work with people who can't communicate. And people who are really sick, and I think really I get moved on a daily basis from them, because people who are very ill and like can't get out of bed but can still smile and have a positive attitude, that helps me get out of bed because it's really inspiring.
I guess recently, when I moved to Portland just recently. It was like my first grown-up decision. Really wasn't too sure what I was doing. I just graduated college, but COVID kind of messed up a lot of plans. I was actually supposed to be in DC, but chilled in Dallas for a while, didn't really know where I was going. But since I got here, I was finally able to learn more about myself and try to figure out, and I can actually see what my next steps are in the next 6 months to a year, which I've been having a really hard time doing. So that was a really good moment for me when I learned about that. And then just my living situation, just got a couple roommates. They're all really cool. My neighbors are cool. I really enjoy hanging out with them. So that was a big thing, because I thought I was just gonna be on my own for a minute, man. I was like, damn, I'm gonna have to tough it out, but it's going good. I can't complain. My life has significantly gotten better since moving here, which I'm really grateful for that.